Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crypto Scene Investigation, where we look at various cryptocurrency projects and we ask ourselves, should we be investing in them? Today we'll be looking at Petwars. If you guys like what I do on this channel, please consider liking and subscribing, as well as, if you do want to comment, please have a read of the grey box down below. Yeah, let's jump into it. Petwars, tokens. Petwars token. So there's quite a few things to go over today. We're going to be looking at some social stats, looking at some token stats. Also, if you want to join my Patreon, cool. If you want to do any sort of fan requests, please become an advocate if you do want to request anything. Because if you request something and you're not an advocate, probably not going to do it. Just letting you know. So in terms of market cap, it is less than 1 million, which is 100 times under the limit of generally what is considered safe to invest in. So the fact that it is 500,000 is very, very, very low for a market cap. But we'll look at some other stats which we can find out about. So what exactly is Petwars? Couldn't find any sort of videos or anything on what exactly Petwars is. There is a AMA which they have done through Coin Launch Lounge. And so you can have a look at a whole bunch of things where they talk about their team, and a bunch of other stuff which you guys are very welcome to go and look through. So here is briefly what Petwars is. So Petwars is a free-to-play turn-based online collectible trading card game. A deck of 30 cards created by the player using numerous characters based on pets is used to reduce an opponent's life from 20 to 0. So we currently don't have any gameplay just yet. One thing which Alex Becker does say is he suggests to not invest in metaverse projects unless we actually have any example of the gameplay. So I haven't seen any sort of pictures or videos of the gameplay for this project. So whether or not that makes it safe to invest in, we'll see. Also, in terms of the exchanges which it is currently on, so it's currently on PancakeSwap. However, there is actually a announcement which they did do from their Twitter channel, which says listing announcement: Petwars official is now listed on crypto.com. So yes, so it looks like so whether or not you can actually buy from crypto.com is up to your discretion. Sorry, I just quickly changed the dark to light. Yeah, so I don't know if we can actually buy on crypto.com. I mean, they did say that it has been listed, but yes, but anybody could essentially be like, hey, at crypto.com. I did ask on the Telegram, didn't find out. But don't let that deter you if that's something which is stopping you from investing if you do want to. Yeah, so when we have a look at where we should go and tick them in regards to trusted centralized exchange or DEX listings, so crypto.com is a tier 8 and Pancake is a tier 3. So what we'll do for this specifically, we'll do the test results once in a tier 3, and then we'll do the other one in a tier 8, just so that you guys can sort of see the final results from them. Cool. So this is their white paper. It's pretty small. So this is more of a light paper from what I can see from my point of view. So to actually call it a white paper is pretty kind of not true. However, because of the actual project which it is, I would say that it is probably more safe to call it a light paper as opposed to if, let's say, this was like a proper DeFi project, right? So that's why I think that they can possibly get away with calling that a white paper, even though it's more of a light paper. So the main things which we actually do want to know regarding the white paper is that their token distribution. So as you can see, pre-sale / liquidity is 58%, private sales 15%, team tokens is only 2%, very, very small for team tokens. So that's pretty good. And so seeding ecosystem is 25%. However, when it comes to the buy and sell taxes, so it says buy tax is 7% and sell tax is 11%. And then as you can see, we can see what those buy and sell taxes are for. So marketing, buyback, liquidity, charity wallet, and then those numbers will increase if you do actually choose to sell it. All right, next section. So they actually do have a audit, which is pretty impressive. So it's done by the Interfi network. The only thing which they could find, which is also going to be popping up on the tokens, token contract scanners, is the set buy and sell fees. So the owner is able to change those, which we can look at. The Telegram currently has about 3,920 members, probably about 4,000 by now, to be honest, because they're growing pretty well. Yeah, I also haven't seen what I would consider actually, you know what, we'll go to that later. So this is their lock from Pinklock, or through Pinklock, and as you can see, there is no major person that holds more than 3%, which is pretty good, to be honest. So it means that nobody essentially has a overarching hand over what is kind of available. Now, if we briefly do jump to Pink Sale itself, sorry guys, did that annoying thing again. So as we can see here, we can see in terms of tokens which are, so we've got locked, pre-sale, liquidity, unlocked, and we can also see team vesting as well. So it looks like things are pretty solid when it actually comes to the distribution itself. So when it comes to the actual release of the unlock schedule, so the unlock schedule is purely for this wallet right here. So as you can see, it's got 2.5 billion currently sitting in that smart contract, and we can see the release dates right here. So the whole entire release will be happening over the next 6 months, and yeah. So in terms of that, I don't really know what to think. I think, first of all, I think that in terms of lockages, I would say that's probably better to lock it for more than 6 months, but it does depend what these guys are wanting to do with it. So it feels, so one thing which we don't know and which I'm uncertain of, is that once these are unlocked, I don't know where they're going to go. Are they going to be like just floating around in like another random wallet? Are they going to be getting sent to like a team wallet? Not entirely sure. So they don't, so I'm not too sure what's happening with that. It'll be interesting to see maybe when he gets to that time. So the next unlock is going to be in the next 6 days. So you guys can follow up on that and see what sort of happens, and you're welcome to upload a picture or something and and see what sort of happens when we get to that point. So let's have a look to see what BSC check tells us. So BSC check says, BSC check and token sniffer both say that it currently doesn't show any buy or sell tax, which is quite interesting because their white paper says differently. So don't know what to think about that, but I feel like that does sort of come under the idea of the owner privileges of being able to change those buy and sell fees. Yeah, so in terms of who owns what, I mean, everything looks pretty safe and legit. I mean, 100% it says in terms of the LP info is locked via Pinklock. So yeah, so I'm not too concerned about that jazz. Token Sniffer does point this out. It says that the source contains a function which can modify the transaction fee, so they say a honeypot risk, which does mean that if, let's say, they decide to make the transaction fees like 99%, that means that you, like, if you sell, you'll lose like 99% of whatever you're selling, right? But in saying that, they can also do what they may have done already, which is where they've made the buy and sell tax 0%, because to be able to be listed on some of those tier 1 exchanges, you have to essentially have no buy or sell tax. So they don't really allow like reflections and a whole bunch of things. So it's kind of interesting to find out whether or not I guess what's kind of happening with that, really. So the ownership has not been announced, which means that they can still go and implement these transaction fee changes if they do choose to. But yeah, so I think it's a pretty good thing that it does say the buy and sell tax is 0% right now. Yeah. So tokens locked, we can see the holder analysis. They do talk about the Pinklock shebang as well there, although it says 99.36% rather than 100%, but that's okay. In terms of the liquidity which is available, so it's currently 116,000. And then we can have a look at the supplies. 25% locked, 14% in liquidity, and then 60% unlocked. So that's out of the supply. And it does say that it was created on the 11th of March. So it's still pretty fresh in terms of its age. Very fresh, actually. And so when we had a look at some of these other things on the right hand side, there's nothing which is too crazy other than this whole honeypot risk thing here, regarding the actual like token swap amount thing. But otherwise, the rest of the actual contract looks pretty clean as well. And also, Token Sniffer, it doesn't say whether or not the contract itself has other similar token contracts. So it doesn't say that it has other similar token contracts down here. So it seems like these like this is quite an original and authentic one, which does help us in the belief that we can probably trust them a bit more than if they were just like a copy and paste one, right? So in terms of followers as well, so we'll be looking at some social metrics. So they say that in the last 30 days they have gotten around about 2,000 followers, which, I mean, if you have a look at the followers amount here, right here, they've got about 2,000 followers right now. So when I have a look through their posts, I haven't seen anything which leads me to believe that these guys have gone and purchased any sort of bots or bot comments or anything. So that is a good sign. That is a really good thing. And so we can see the listing announcement here. I'll quit out of that for now. So this is Google Trends. This may not be the most trustworthy source in terms of this, because Petwars, I mean, if we go and change the numbers to like 2004, I mean, there was like a big, like one of the biggest booms regarding Petwars was like 2005. So but when we have a look in the last 12 months, as you can see, most of it has been sort of searched around the kind of early 2020 time period, and this is also reflected within the last 90 days as well. So that's good to know, and it still has been searched quite heavily, and I believe that it is trending at #1 in terms of most viewed cryptos on CoinMarketCap, if I'm correct. That's essentially how I found this. So the website itself, everything does seem to link pretty well from what I can see, except for one thing, which is where you click token and it takes you to team, and then when you click team it doesn't take you anywhere. So maybe just get that fixed up. But otherwise the website does look pretty nice. It would be nice to maybe have a little bit more information, like for instance if we could maybe see these guys' LinkedIns, because I did try to find both Ashley and Kyle on LinkedIn, and from what I could find, I could not find them. So yeah, that's it's a bit concerning. But however, Ashley himself was in that AMA, which you did see at the beginning of the video, so you can actually hear him, and he does talk about the project and everything. So one thing which kind of annoys me is he says that like the team is doxed, but posting your name and a picture of your face doesn't really tell us that you're doxed. And the fact that we can't find you doesn't really kind of like tell us that you are actually doxed. So yeah, don't know about that one, champ. So as we can see in terms of what has been done for their roadmap, you can see the ones which have got text next to them, and the ones which have not got text next to them. So these guys have got a whole bunch of things which they are wanting to do, which is cool. It's interesting how this is centralized exchange listing for Q4 of 2022. So that makes me sort of think that you can't actually buy it from crypto.com as of yet. So yeah, that's just that's that shebang. Well, let's go to our favorite part of the show, ladies and germs. Is it April still? It is April. Nice. Okay. So, functional and clean website / media. Pretty clean, pretty functional. Apart from that one link, so give them about a 6. There are things which are missing, which are pretty important. I mean, there's no video showing the project, but it is still pretty new, to be honest. Even though I feel like, because he said that he was the CEO of another project as well, when I was listening to the AMA, and from the sounds of it, they've been working on this since 2021, so I don't know, I probably would have expected a bit more, but I mean, to be honest, they were probably like talking about it a bunch during this sort of time, and it's not very easy to be able to, you know, come up with like the sort of art style and these sort of things. So yeah, solid white paper for what it's worth. It's a solid light paper, but for what it is, it's pretty good. It's pretty good for the actual product, which it is. Solid roadmap. I do like the roadmap. I'll probably give them a 10 for their roadmap, because it's we can see the things which they have done and the things which they are intending to do. So I'd say for roadmap they are doing very well with their token holder, so solid tokenomics and holder distribution. So far, yes, it seems to be pretty good. And from what we did read from the white paper of what it actually did have, it's pretty alright, man. So yeah, I would say that in terms of that, they get about a 10 really. Yeah, I'd say they did really well. Control V paid bot comments, didn't see any, get a 10. Is the team doxed with LinkedIn? No. They get a little bit higher because they do show their faces, no LinkedIn's. And they are not doxed, no matter what like Ashley wants to say. They are not what I'd consider doxed. Interviews and or AMAs, yes, we have at least one, and that was done within the last 6 months, and it does give us a decent overview of the project. But we don't see faces neither, and we don't really know who the other guys are. Well, I mean, we can see them on their website, but like it didn't seem like there was kind of like heavy interaction with what we did see in the interview as well, or the AMA, I should say. Well, was it even an AMA? It seemed like more of a yeah. It didn't feel like from what I could see, it didn't seem like an actual public AMA. It just sort of seemed like a YouTuber to director AMA. Yeah, so don't even know if I'd consider that proper AMA, but anyway, that's just, I guess, picking at straws or whatever they call it. Any relevant team experience? We do not know. So I'm tempted to tick not applicable, and they do say that the team experience in the AMA, which they have, so I'm going to put not applicable for this one, because we can't completely see. Any notable partnerships? No. Other than maybe, yeah, like, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna give them like a 2, because I wouldn't really consider them to have any notable partnerships. Now, if that crypto.com thing is true, now keep in mind currently 60 out of 90, that is, I believe, a 7 out of 10, or is that a 6 out of 10? I do not remember. Crud. Yeah, that's about a 7 out of 10, I think, almost. I think 65 might be. But let's jump and see what happens if they are listed on crypto.com. So if they are listed on crypto.com, then we are looking at somewhere about an 8 out of 10 for these guys. Yeah, at least I'm hoping that I'm getting my colors right. Yeah, so if my colors are right, then we are looking at about an 8 out of 10, which is still a 3.5 star. So yeah, so that's, I guess, the conclusion of this. So 3.5 star for these guys, and essentially a 7 to an 8 out of 10, depending on the information which we receive. Yeah, cool guys. That's the video. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, please do consider liking and subscribing. And if you wish to comment, please check that bad boy out. And yeah, if you do want to join my Patreon, that would be really cool. Because yeah, wanting to grow that and, you know, have a bunch of advocates and people. Yeah, so anyway guys, that has been me. Much love. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care of yourselves and don't do anything I wouldn't do.